This is episode 2 of me telling my business because I feel like it'll help somebody. So within the past 3 years, I have gone through 3 friendship breakups that have taught me a lot about relationships and how I interact with women. And this is also related to my last video on how I went no contact with my mother. And it has shown me the relationship between motherhood wounds and sisterhood wounds and how everything is all interconnected anyway. But that is something that is really interconnected. So I realized in hindsight that maybe 90% of the female friends that I was attracting, and also to a certain extent the romantic relationships that I was getting into, most of them had mother wounds. And water always seeks to find its level, right? So whatever our internal state is, and we're 60% water, I just realized that goes deeper, but water's always seeking its level. So whatever our internal state is, our internal energetic state, whatever has gone on subconsciously, our wounds, our conditioning, our beliefs about ourselves and about other people and how we relate to other people, those things will all be reflected in our external reality, whether we're aware and conscious of it or not. So I continuously attracted these people who essentially had the same wounds as me, and we would vent to each other, and we essentially had just the same wounds, a lot of the same upbringing, but it would be reflected in different ways, right? Like the mother wound would show up for some people. Like one of my friends had like a mother who fully abandoned her, and then another one of my friends had a mother who, she was just mean. Like she was a really mean lady. And then another one of my friends had a mother who essentially parentified her. Like she would have to help her mother pay bills, and her mom like mess up her credit and use it on like a phone bill or something. So all of this created a lot of like internal turmoil and chaos and stress and resentment in my friends. And so when we would finally come together, because all my friends were long distance, right? I moved around a lot, then I was in the military, so we were just never in the same place. And when we would finally come together and see each other, all of these things would just start coming up in them, and they'd like burst into tears, or they'd just be like super emotionally reactive and volatile. And I just didn't know what to do with that, because my, I guess, mother wounds would show up not manifested in my female friendships, but they would show up in my romantic relationships. So I could empathize with them, and I could, I guess, see myself in them and see where this pain originated and where it was created. But I felt that there was starting to be an incongruence and an energetic misalignment, because I felt like I was doing the work and I was doing all the, deep uncovering, because I had all of this emotional reactivity too. And being in relationships were so immensely triggering and painful for me, which they usually are if you have wounds that need to come up, right? Like nature's always moving towards healing. So whatever's internally not fully healed and whole in you, you're going to keep attracting it into your reality. So it could be like, hey, you need to heal this. So that's what happened in my romantic relationship. So I started doing the work on that. I remember the first thing I ever looked up when I was starting, or I guess when I discovered inner work, was how do I stop being so emotionally reactive? Because I felt so out of control of my emotions. I felt like, I don't know, I felt like there was a storm inside of me, and I just had so much anxiety, anger, I just had so much inside of me just brewing, that it would just come out, and people would be triggering me, and I'm like, I just didn't know how to handle it. So I had a lot of empathy for these friends, but I just felt like once I started doing the work and then I mistakenly tried to share it with them, when you try to share things with people that aren't really ready to receive it, this is why I teach now, because I'm like, I want to be sharing to the people who are open and ready to receive. But when you start sharing things with people who aren't willing and ready to receive, inner work or whatever it is, they'll kind of just reject it. They'll reject you. They'll make you feel even more unseen and unheard. And they'll kind of just be like, ugh, you're not Jesus. You're not a motivational speaker. You don't know what you're talking about. You think you know everything. Shut up. So I was just like, okay. And that's helped me even more with my embodiment, right? The more you try to spit information out without being embodied in it, the more people will be like, okay, girl, go fix your life. Don't tell me what to do. So I was like, okay, whatever. And even though eventually it really started to show in my reality, those people still were like, whatever, a lot of people don't really want to see you growing or evolving past them. So, and that has to do with their own blocks and wounds and all that stuff. So I'm not like, I don't feel a way about it. I understand the pathology behind it, but it was like I tried to share these things with them. And also I told you I had the false identity of savior. I told you that in the last video. I had a bunch of false identities: black sheep, savior, dictator. I wanted to control everything, which I learned from like my upbringing. So I'm like, I want to help you, I want to save you, I want to show you something different, but they really weren't open or receiving to what I had to offer. So eventually we just became misaligned, and I was just like, yeah, I can't really take this anymore. Like, I'm trying to love on you, I'm trying to show you a different way, I'm trying to, I don't know, like pour into you, but you're not really able to receive my love. And now you're hurting me, right? Because you are wounded and you're cut and you're hurt, you're bleeding on me. And so I think that's what really happened with those friendships. And I think now that I'm in a place of, I guess, another stage of like isolation, which doesn't really feel like isolation, it mostly just feels like a deep sense of peace. The fact that I'm finally in a place of peace, and I'm in my own energy, and I feel like I'm clearing out the energy and like creating my own energy and like field. I feel like now I'm finally in a position to attract more aligned friends that are growth oriented, friends that I can learn from, friends that also don't have like old like wounds that I used to have. Like eventually I finally stopped attracting people with mother wounds. Like my partner now, he's healthy, he's very emotionally intelligent, he has a 2-parent household, his parents have been married for 30 plus years, and it just showed me that I'm finally like, I don't know, it felt like the alignment that I was in and the energetic state that I was finally at started reflecting in my outer reality, and I started attracting people who didn't have mommy issues, who were just like whole in a way that I felt like I was always trauma bonding with people, or I always was attracting people with the same wounding as me. And so I'm like, okay, I finally healed this thing, and now I'm attracting people who like grew up in 2-parent households. Like that's different. And of course everyone has their own things. They have their own wounds, and betrayal wounds or abandonment wounds, or whatever conditioning. Like you have things that happen that aren't in childhood, right? Like you can have friends betray you, you can have partners lie to you, or you can have like mistrust wounds, you can have all these things that come later on, right? But a lot of it is foundational from your birth family or family of origin. But the fact that I attracted somebody like him, I'm like, oh, I'm healed. And then now, even with my most recent friend that I attracted, like she has an amazing relationship with her mother, and I'm just like, I don't know, it just felt like finally, like I'm finally attracting people not from wounding, not from trauma bonding, not from co-creating like misery or venting, or just not being in a healthy place. It's not a real healthy relationship built on like love and mutual respect and similar values. It was just built on like past stuff. And I don't know, it just felt like I finally had transformed my relationship. So now I'm calling in even more amazing friends, even more like just what I'm desiring. Like I want more entrepreneurial friends, I want more married friends, I want more friends with children, like just people who I can look up to, who are like good parents, who are good wives, who are just good humans in society, who are creating things and giving back. Like I'm so excited to call in this new type of person. And honestly, like even in my last video, a lot of people were connecting with me on the fact that you guys also had like tumultuous upbringings. But what I want to share with you is like, it's really not about them. Like it's really not about understanding the pathology of the people who hurt you. It's not about trauma bonding with people who have similar, painful backgrounds with you. It's really about creating a reality that is in alignment with what God has for you and your true heart-led desires, right? And it's not about running away from your past or, being afraid of creating that in the future, which is anxiety. It's about really digging deep, shedding those layers and conditioning, becoming whole, and creating something completely new, even if it's something that you've never seen before. Having relationships that aren't healthy and not being mirrored back like healthy relationships, not being able to see what that looks like. It's like you're gonna have to put yourself in different environments to learn what that looks like, if that makes sense. You're gonna have to put yourself out there to create something completely new, as opposed to running from your past or ruminating on your past. Like that's not the solution, and that's not how I got to where I am. I remember being in therapy for years and crying and ruminating and woe is meing and talking about my parents over and over and over. And the more that I got into what I teach now, which is how to heal without healing, is the more that I came into myself. Instead of focusing on my parents and what they did and didn't do and my traumas and whatever it was, like I started focusing on my desires and what I wanted to create. That's why I talk about being in problem consciousness versus solution consciousness. That's why I talk about being in the fixing, healing paradigm versus being in the creating, aligning, manifesting, solution-oriented paradigm. It's not about blaming your parents. It's not about shaming yourself and going, what's wrong with me? It's about creating a whole new paradigm where there's a third option where it's no one's fault and everyone gets to be happy. Everyone gets to live the life that they deserve and that they desire. And that is really the essence of doing the deeper work, is everyone gets to win. Like that person isn't losing because you're no longer in their life. You aren't losing because you don't have them in their life. You're not losing anything. We all get to win. We all get to have the reality that we desire. So if you're triggering somebody and they don't want you in their life anymore and you're not aligned with them and you don't want to be in that environment anymore, you get to leave. And that chapter gets to close. And that doesn't mean that anyone's losing anything. And now you both get to be open to something that is more vibrationally aligned to what you desire. And I think that is what helps me have a lot of closure with friendship breakups and the things that have transpired over the past few years that might have appeared like a loss, but now as I'm getting older, wiser, wholer, happier, like more abundant, I'm realizing was a win. It was a win-win on both sides. Through doing all of the work that I've described in Mindset Mastery, the mindset and subconscious work, the identity expansion work, the nervous system regulation work, all the different inner works, the shadow work, the inner child work, the inner parent work, all of the things that I'm going to talk about in this newest lesson, I have really started to align and also become okay with the ebbs and flows of life. Like right now I could be in a pit of despair, like, oh, I'm so lonely and I don't have any friends and it's just me and my man and my friend who I barely see. Like I could feel like that, or I could be like, oh my God, I am clearing the space, I'm clearing the energy, and I'm creating my own energetic field that is going to like magnetize in quantum speed the type of friends and the type of women and the type of relationships that I want around me. Relationships that are built upon desire and growth, and not growing because we feel like we're broken or like we're gonna be healing forever or anything like that, but growth just for the sake of growing, because the law of entropy states that if you aren't growing, you're getting worse, right? Like we're always moving towards, for example, if you don't work out, you are losing muscle mass, you're aging, you're getting worse, right? So unless you're exerting a positive force on the thing that you're trying to improve, for example, your health, then you're just going to continuously get worse. So growing because it feels good, growing because we're here to grow. Like we're always moving towards growth and healing, growing in love, growing in our relationships because we want a more juicy, robust romantic relationship with our partners that is healing and whole and healthy, and that just touches like every edge of the planet because it's like so amazing and everyone's inspired. Or having a business that is so amazing and impacts a bunch of people, and it just like completely shifts the collective because we're like telling people so many amazing things and juicy things about how to have an amazing life. Or having the best body possible, having like a banging cute body that is the body of our dreams, and we're the healthiest we've ever been, just because it's fun, just because that's the type of life that we get to live. And that's the type of work that I do in my containers, like Mindset Mastery, like Conscious Creator, like the Magical Morning Mindset Map, which helps you align to your highest reality and your highest self and stay there and rewire your subconscious mind and truly push you into an abundant place consistently, not focused on your past, not anxious about the future, but being in the present moment, because you can only create from there. Or how in Mindset Mastery, we're really mastering every single part of our lives. We're doing the feminine and masculine energy work with our creation energies. We are doing the nervous system expansion work and really becoming not just safe in our bubble and safe, away from all the different things in life, but we're actually expanding ourselves to receive more. And in Conscious Creator, really being able to design our life and align to this like next level that is even more expansive than what we thought was present when we just wanted to be safe and we just wanted to be out of our past, and now we're in a place of safety. Like now we're going to be in a place that is so super consciously expansive that like it's only something that God could put on our hearts, right? So if you want to join me in this work, then I will see you inside of my containers, and leave any questions below that you have, and I'll be happy to answer them in my next videos.